All right, I'm currently on the phone with Will Maravelas. He's another musician that I have spoken to before, and he's always a pleasure to have back. Will, why don't you take a moment to remind everybody who you are and what you do?
Thanks, Alex. I appreciate you having me, dude. My name is Will Maravelas. I am a Taurus. I like long walks on the beach. No, I'm kidding. I am a longtime musician simply because I was too stupid to quit. I continue to play music. All over the place, regionally, locally, Europe if I get the chance, Japan if I get the chance, anywhere that'll have me. In the metal bands Caustic Abyss and Plague of Stars, as well as the doom band Chalice of Suffering, and several other studio projects I won't get into. I am also the current owner of 1459 Studios in the beautiful Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I record, I mix, I master. I pretty much live and breathe all things music. So this is what I do.
All right, well, welcome back, and thank you for taking the time. Let's talk about Caustic Abyss. So the previous times I've interviewed you, we've talked about Plague of Stars, and we'll talk a bit about that as well. But let's talk about the founding of Caustic Abyss, where it came from, why the side project, and where you guys are going with it.
Absolutely. I was formerly in the band Coffin Rights. We were a band in the Twin Cities for about 5 years after my previous band, We Are Legion, had broken up. And after Coffin Rights ended up dissipating, I really just wanted to continue doing a heavy project, a brutal project. Not to say that Plague of Stars isn't a heavy project, but just different, something that appeals to my traditional death metal, super fast, super thrash type riffs, that whole vibe. So wanted to create something in that vein that fulfilled that need that Coffin Rights fulfilled, but was still different and still heavy.
Okay. Did you pull over any of the Coffin Rights people, or is this
I
all a new
did.
lineup?
I did. I was really lucky to be able to pull Casey over with me. Casey was our bass player, very very long time friend. Casey and I pretty much decided when we knew Coffin wasn't going to be a thing anymore that we were going to continue playing music together in some fashion, and it just kind of seemed natural to keep doing that. So love to have Casey back involved with that. So if you're a fan of his bass playing in Coffin Rights, you would still dig him in Caustic Abyss. So there you go.
Excellent. So, as a part of this side project, have you guys already started putting out records? Or are you working on stuff? Where are you kind of in that release cadence? How was it to get everybody together?
It was a really cool experience. I always kind of view I always kind of view everything I do as basically like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to try and do my all with it. And I try and find people that kind of believe in that same mentality within the life, within the world of life and real world
Hmm.
and all that kind of thing. Nobody's making squillions playing death metal ever. So,
They
but
should
just
be.
have to, they should, that would be nice, but I'm just happy to be here. But as far as our band went, we were able to really pull together a group of just people who have been friends for years. It's our first guy that joined was a guy named Brett Barrett. He was in a wonderful band called Portraits of War. He's in a Nightwish tribute band too called Imaginarum. And he's just a sick drummer. And I've always thought really highly of his playing, and the reality of any band is you're only as good as your drummer. So I'm like, well, I'm going to try and pull a guy who A, I respect, B, I really enjoy as a person, and B, is going to make my riff sound a lot cooler, because let's face it, if you got a good drummer, that riff's going to sound a lot cooler.
Hmm.
And he graciously accepted, and him and Casey and I started jamming. Um, After that, we actually asked our friend Alex Gorgos, who's been in tons of bands. He was in Echoes of the Fallen. He's currently also in a great band called Grand Demise of Civilization. They're easily my favorite band in town, so check them out too. But he was also in Vulnerata. He's in Beauty Decay. He was in Ghost Hook. He's just another Minneapolis veteran, if you will. And we've been friends for years, and finally had a project that kind of made sense timing wise, that lined up. So he came in to do vocals, and our good friend Nathaniel Ashwood, who has played in bands with Casey on and off for the better part of the last decade plus. He was kind of a natural choice for the other guitar player. He's in the band Echoes of the Fallen as well. He used to be in Promadol. Just a really excellent guitar player, really great guy, and the only member of the band who's fitting enough to be somebody's parent. So he's a wonderful, wonderful guy, but just really a big group of friends, and it's been really just fun. No drama, no BS, just music. We get together, we have a really great time. We wrote a whole album in the last, it would be for anybody listening to this, it would be, in the last 8-9 months, and we recorded that album in that same time frame. And we are releasing that album this coming Saturday, January. Well, technically the album comes out Friday, January 17th, but our release show is Saturday, January 18th at the wonderful Turf Club in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited to help you promote that as well. Give me a bit of background about what the album is about. What was kind of the inspiration and, drive for the content of the album?
It wasn't really intended to be this way, but I kind of feel like the album is kind of shoring up to be like the most Minnesota metal album we could come up with, in the sense that, like, the album's called Eternal Winter Crypt, and it's got the name right there, and it just feels like home. It's being released in January in the dead of winter. It's just so, like, just silly things like the song titles and all that kind of thing, but really about what the world feels really, really kind of cold, and there's a lot of scary things happening in the world right now, and I think there's a lot of unrest. There's a lot of people who are terrified of what the future is, with the crap going on in the Middle East, the thing that's been going on in Ukraine forever, the change in the change in regimes. And that's not a political statement. It's like anybody who says otherwise about the presidential change, anyone's going to get apprehensive about that. It's simply, there's a lot of things that people are afraid about. Mm-hmm. And I think with due process, there's a lot of really scary things that have happened in the world, stateside and in the side of the world in the last 10 years, so
I feel where you're going with that is a lot of that kind of encompassing fear was the motivation to create the content for the album, just to kind of put that in a nutshell.
I appreciate you wrapping that up nicely in a bow for me. But yeah, exactly. It's like metal and music is, I always kind of say, nobody comes to music on a winning streak, right? It's like, mm-hmm. we all come to music as a source of catharsis, or a source of trying to feel human when it's really hard to feel compassionate sometimes, and
to heal something.
Yeah, I'm like, metal is a brutal thing, but it is a beautiful thing too, so.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely happy to help promote that, and I'm very excited that you got this project together and have put out an album. I know a lot of people put a lot of work into albums, and everybody deserves congratulations when they hit that milestone. As a part of that, how are things at 1459? Give me an update about the studio.
The studio's nuts. We were kind of talking a little bit before we started recording about how the recording business, I was told when I started, it was going to be, a feast or famine business. It's either you're super busy or you're dead. And quite frankly, I don't know when this famine's going to start. After like owning the studio for 15 years, it doesn't really seem like it's slowing down. It feels like the opposite. I stopped promoting the studio a long time ago, and I'm just getting business as referral, which is ultimately what any business person wants. And I'm just very thankful to the people that have come to the studio and help kind of spread the word about the studio, because I'm not putting up posters in stores or anything like that. I'm not going to the record stores and handing out business cards. It's literally just like my clients are going, "Hey, go here. He did a good job." And that's kind of the highest compliment you can get. So yeah, it's been great. It's been crazy. I always say it's going to be the studio that metal built. And I'm proud of that. I'm never going to turn my back on that. but I'm getting stuff that's not metal too pretty regularly, which is definitely different. And
Yeah, I know. I've interviewed quite a few people that have referenced 1459, and some of them have definitely not been metal. So when
yeah,
it came up, I was a little just like, "Oh, really? Okay,
yeah,
all right, all
yeah,
right."
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
you know
that's
what?
awesome.
I'll take it. I'll take it. You know, it's appreciated. So
For sure. All right. So, how about Plague of Stars? How are things going for that group?
Plague of Stars is super busy too, as you know, no surprise here. I will say if anybody who's listening is in multiple bands, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. Don't release two albums back to back, like within 30, 60, 90 days. Don't do it. Just don't. I'm telling you right now. I'm super proud of both of the albums, but man, when you got to start doing interviews, which I appreciate, Alex, thanks. I'm not saying anything bad, but interviews, doing press, doing videos, getting your music videos out on time, getting everything between, in Plague of Stars case to a label. It's there's just so many like new deadlines. Oh yeah, you got to do this. You got to do this. So it will be really, really nice after February 23rd, after or 22nd, after Plague of Stars release show to kind of go like, okay, cool. Now I can just enjoy being, enjoy doing music again and not have all these crazy deadlines to hit for promotion windows for both the albums from Caustic Abyss and Plague of Stars coming out literally 30 days
Yeah, and
apart.
I've been like seeing your posts, and it's just like constantly video, 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 post,
Yeah,
show, and of
yeah.
like all these different projects, and it's great to see because I love to see people actually out there living the dream and doing it. But you seem very very busy, and it makes me happy.
Well, I appreciate that, and it is great. And I'm definitely not sitting here. I'm not, I'm very thankful I'm thankful that people care, and that's awesome. And even if it's like five people who really care about both bands, I really appreciate those five people who really care about both bands. It's awesome. And but I'm very thankful. I'm very fortunate. I have worked hard for it, but at the same time, it's like I'm aware that this could all end tomorrow. So I'm just going to enjoy the ride while I can. And both bands have several shows that have not been released yet. So there will be more spamming and more annoying social media posts coming from me and both bands in the future. So
Absolutely. I know I have an interview scheduled with the new singer for Plague of Stars, so I'm excited to talk to her. So let's focus on Caustic Abyss again. Give me the social media. Where can people find it? Check out your videos, and then watch out for that album coming.
we got the old Caustic Abyss on the old socials. You can find us on the Facebook, the Instagram. We have our own website, causticabyss.com. We have our Bandcamp, of course, which is just Caustic Abyss Bandcamp.com. You can find us all there. You can buy our merch on all of those various platforms. You can come to a show, obviously, buy some stuff there. Come hang out with us. The best way to interface with music is go out and see it live, whether it's our band or somebody else. I wholeheartedly encourage anybody to go out and experience music live, because it's just there's really nothing more visceral than seeing a band play their songs and screw them up live. It's pretty awesome. It's humanity at its most raw, and I've always appreciated that about live music.
And so, as always, closing message. What's your 2025 updated life lesson?
Oh, my life lesson is hold on tight and enjoy the ride. It's as you get older, there's less things you can control, but there's a hell of a lot of things that you can do in order to improve your situation or make the lives of people around you better. Just don't be a dick. Just be a good person and hope for the best. So there you go.